The call for help. The stars above glittered like diamonds scattered across a vast black sea. On the outskirts of the galaxy, nestled within a star system on the edge of known space, a meeting was taking place that would forever change the course of history. The Galactic Council had convened in the towering, crystalline hall, its walls reflecting the faint light of 3 distant moons. The space around the table was filled with representatives of dozens of species, all of them united in their shared mission of peace. But today, something was different. The usual calm demeanor of the council was gone, replaced by hushed voices and nervous glances. The speaker, Rob, a tall and slender alien with delicate blue skin, stood at the head of the table. His once confident posture seemed shaky as his webbed fingers hovered over the communication console. The massive holographic screen in front of them flickered to life, and the face of Ambassador Marlowe, Earth's representative, appeared. Marlowe was a man of solid build and sharp features, his expression calm yet commanding. His eyes were the color of the ocean, reflecting the deep resilience that had been shaped on a planet filled with danger. The Council had long avoided Earth, considering it a death world, a place so hostile, so violent, that they had feared humanity would be nothing but a dangerous force. But now, that very dangerous force was about to be called upon. Ambassador Marlowe, Rob began, his voice quivering slightly, "We need your help." Marlowe's brow furrowed slightly, sensing the gravity in Rob's voice. "What's the situation?" he asked, his tone measured but firm. The image on the screen flickered again, and Rob waved his thin hand. Instantly, a series of holographic images materialized. They showed a world in chaos, burned-out colonies, destroyed ships, and the faces of terrified civilians. These images were far more brutal than anything Marlowe had seen in his years as Earth's ambassador to the galaxy. "Pirates," Rob said, his voice faltering. "But not like any we've seen before. They're attacking peaceful colonies. Our people are not built for this kind of violence." Marlowe leaned forward slightly, his gaze intense. He had heard whispers of these pirates, a brutal, merciless band of raiders who struck without warning. But he had never imagined their scale. "They're attacking our colonies, our trade routes, and they're taking everything. Our defense fleets are too slow to react," Rob continued, his voice nearly cracking. "Our people, we're not built for fighting. We don't have the strength, the speed, or the weapons. We don't know how to defend ourselves." Marlowe's expression softened, but there was a fire in his eyes. He understood better than most what it was like to be in a position of vulnerability, even as a species that had survived countless adversities. He knew what it meant to be outmatched. To be faced with a foe that was too powerful to defeat through conventional means. "How many colonies have they hit?" Marlowe asked, his voice steady. "5 in the past 2 months, Rob replied, his hands trembling as he showed more images, shattered cities, flames rising from the ruins of once thriving worlds. "We've lost contact with 3 of them completely. No communication, no survivors. Our people are in shock. We don't know how to fight like this. Please, we need Earth's help." Marlowe stood silently for a moment, contemplating. He knew what this meant. Earth had never been asked to step into a conflict on this scale. In the past, the Council had kept their distance from humanity, afraid of their aggressive tendencies and their brutal survival instincts. But now, those very traits were being called upon. Marlowe's eyes hardened as he gave a firm nod. "Tell me about these pirates. What makes them different?" Rob's face tightened as he continued, his voice barely above a whisper. "They came out of nowhere. They're fast, their ships are unlike anything we've seen. Their weapons tear through our defenses like paper. They hit and run, taking what they want and leaving nothing behind. They don't negotiate, they don't demand. They simply destroy." Marlowe's gaze shifted as the gravity of the situation began to sink in. "And you want Earth's help?" There was a slight hesitation from Rob, then a deep sigh. "Yes. We were wrong to judge your people, Ambassador. We thought you were nothing more than violent creatures. We feared your strength, your ability to destroy. But now we see it differently. You have the ability to survive on a death world. That kind of strength is something we need. The other council members exchanged uneasy looks. They had been raised on gentle worlds where the very idea of violence was foreign. They had never needed to fight, and the thought of engaging in battle was deeply unsettling. But now, they were forced to admit that the humans, the very species they had once feared, might be their only hope. Marlowe studied the images one last time. The faces of the survivors haunted him, their eyes wide with fear, their bodies bruised and broken. He could feel the weight of their suffering, the weight of the Council's desperate plea. "I'll take this to Earth's Defense Council," Marlowe said, his voice firm and unwavering. "But I believe I already know their answer. We've been looking for a way to prove ourselves to the galaxy. To show that we are more than just a Deathworld species." Rob's eyes brightened. "You'll help?" Marlowe nodded, his expression steely. "We'll do more than help. We'll solve this problem. Earth has dealt with pirates and raiders for centuries. It's time to show the galaxy what we're capable of." As the communication ended, the room fell into an eerie silence. The council members exchanged uncertain glances. They had called upon Earth for help, and now they had to wait. Would the humans truly help them? Or would they fall back into their old fears and let the galaxy burn? Rob stared out at the three moons, their cold light casting long shadows across the crystal walls. "May the stars help us," he whispered. "We've just called the Deathworlders." In the vastness of space, where many feared the darkness, one thing was certain: humanity would rise. The unlikely heroes. Back on Earth, the Defense Council was already convening. As soon as Ambassador Marlowe's communication had ended, Earth's leaders had mobilized. They had anticipated a request like this, though they had hoped it would never come. It had only been a few years since humanity had joined the galactic community, and in that short time, they had shown their worth. But now, with an entire galactic alliance relying on them, Earth's resolve would be tested like never before. Inside the high-security meeting room, a group of Earth's finest military minds, scientists, and strategists gathered around a large circular table. The room hummed with urgency, the air thick with anticipation. Marlowe stood at the head of the table, flanked by General Evelyn Blackstone, a battle-hardened veteran of Earth's military, and Dr. Soren Hayes, one of Earth's leading experts in alien technology and weapons development. As the doors sealed behind them, Marlowe addressed the room. "We've received a request from the Galactic Council," Marlowe began, his voice steady but heavy with the weight of what was to come. "They've been attacked by a group of pirates unlike any we've faced before. They're fast, brutal, and completely ruthless. They've attacked peaceful colonies, leaving nothing but destruction in their wake." General Blackstone leaned forward, her eyes narrowing. She had seen the horrors of war firsthand, and there was something in Marlowe's tone that told her this was unlike anything humanity had dealt with before. "How bad is it?" she asked, her voice a low growl. Marlowe paused, letting the weight of the question hang in the air for a moment. "They've destroyed 5 colonies in the last 2 months. 3 of them are completely uncontactable, gone. No survivors. The Council's forces are ill-equipped to handle this. They've asked for our help. They need us to fight these pirates." The room fell silent. Humanity had fought its share of battles, but this was different. They had always known that one day, Earth's strength might be tested on a galactic scale. That day had arrived. But it wasn't just their physical strength that was being called upon, it was their ingenuity, their resilience, their sheer will to survive. Dr. Hayes, a man known for his brilliant mind and quiet demeanor, spoke up. "We've faced pirates before, both here on Earth and in our history. But this is something else. The technology these pirates are using is advanced. We'll need more than just firepower to stop them. General Blackstone nodded. We have the firepower. The real question is, do we have the tactics? And more importantly, the right people for this job? Marlowe stood tall. We have the right people. The team we're putting together isn't just strong. They're adaptable. They're quick thinkers. And they're not afraid to get their hands dirty. These pirates may have superior weapons, but they don't have what we do. Dr. Hayes turned to the holographic map that was projected above the table, showing the locations of the destroyed colonies and the paths the pirate ships had taken. We can't just throw everything we have at them. We need to approach this strategically. They hit fast and retreat just as quickly. If we can predict their movements and set traps, we might have a chance. Agreed, General Blackstone said, her fingers tapping a rhythm on the table. We'll need a specialized team. The kind that doesn't hesitate when the pressure's on. Marlowe looked around the table at the faces of Earth's finest. These were the men and women who had survived the harshest conditions, the most brutal battles, and who, against all odds, had always found a way to come out on top. He knew they were ready. I've already selected the team, Marlowe said, his voice strong. Captain Jane Williams will lead the operation. A murmur of approval rippled through the room. Captain Jane Williams was one of Earth's most respected officers, a combat strategist known for her ability to think on her feet and make decisions under pressure. She had led countless missions, both on Earth and in space, and her reputation as a leader was unmatched. Her team will consist of 3 of Earth's best. Lieutenant Mike Carrington, a combat specialist with years of experience in hostile environments. Lieutenant Lucy Novak, our best engineer. If there's a piece of alien tech we can repurpose, she'll find it. And Bill Reynolds, our field medic. He's treated injuries in places where the worst kind of pain is a regular occurrence. The room fell quiet as the leaders considered Marlowe's choices. These individuals were among the best Earth had to offer, and yet, they were about to face an unknown enemy on an unimaginable scale. The stakes had never been higher. We can't waste any time, General Blackstone said, her voice cutting through the silence. Get them in place. I'll make sure the fleet is ready. Marlowe nodded. I'll inform the Galactic Council. We'll leave within the hour. In the heart of Earth's military complex, the chosen team gathered in a large, high-tech hangar. The air buzzed with activity as engineers and technicians made final adjustments to the team's equipment. The human team was about to embark on a mission that could decide the fate of the galaxy, and there was no room for error. Captain Jane Williams stood before her team, a stern expression on her face. She was tall, with short-cropped dark hair and a no-nonsense demeanor. Her uniform, marked with various patches of honor, reflected the years of service she had given to Earth's defense forces. She studied each member of her team as they assembled in front of her. All right, team, she began, her voice calm but carrying the weight of authority. We've been asked to do something no one else can. The Galactic Council is scared. They don't know what to do. But we're not like them. We don't freeze when things get tough. We adapt. We fight. And we win. Mike, the combat specialist, cracked his knuckles with a grin. His arms were covered in tattoos, each one representing a battle he had fought in. I'm ready for a fight, he said, his voice full of confidence. Lucy, the engineer, adjusted her gear, her eyes focused on the holographic display of the pirate ships. We don't just fight. We outsmart them. I'll be on comms, hacking their systems. If there's a weakness, I'll find it. Bill, the medic, was the quietest of the group. His experience in the field had taught him to stay calm, no matter the chaos around him. He was already checking his medical supplies, making sure everything was in place. We might have wounded, he said softly. I'll be ready for anything. Jane looked at them, her expression hardening with resolve. We're not just going to fight these pirates. We're going to stop them. We're going to show the galaxy what humanity is made of. They've underestimated us. It's time to prove them wrong. The team nodded in unison, each of them ready to face whatever dangers awaited them in the stars. The mission was set. The battle was about to begin. As the team prepared for departure, the hum of the ship's engines filled the hangar. Their journey to the troubled colonies would take them far from home, into the heart of the unknown. But one thing was certain, they would not back down. Not now. Not ever. The pirates had made a grave mistake. They had underestimated the human spirit. And now, they would learn the hard way why humanity was a force to be reckoned with. Into the fire. The sleek human warship, Vanguard, sliced through the cold expanse of space, its engines humming steadily as it raced toward the distant colonies that were under attack. Captain Jane Williams stood at the helm, her eyes scanning the star-filled void before her. The mission ahead was clear: stop the pirates, save the colonies, and prove once and for all that Earth's Deathworlders were more than just a terrifying myth. They were warriors, yes, but they were also protectors. They would show the galaxy that humanity's strength wasn't just physical, it was the strength of their will, their ingenuity, and their unbreakable determination. Behind her, her team moved with purpose. Lieutenant Mike Carrington, the combat expert, checked his gear one last time, ensuring that every weapon, every piece of armor, was in top condition. He was always ready for a fight, but this mission felt different. There was something about these pirates, something that made him uneasy. Lieutenant Lucy Novak, the engineer, was seated at one of the control panels, her fingers dancing across the holographic displays, inputting commands, adjusting the ship's systems. Her mind worked faster than most people could think, and she was already strategizing. There was more to this mission than simply defeating the pirates. If the Vanguard was going to have a chance to defeat them, they needed to outsmart them. That's where Lucy came in. Her mind could make sense of the chaos, and in battle, that was priceless. Bill Reynolds, the medic, was quietly reviewing his medical supplies, preparing for the worst. His experience in high-stress situations had taught him to expect the unexpected, and the injuries he had treated in the past were nothing compared to what they might face in this mission. But he was ready. As long as there were survivors to help, Bill would do whatever it took. "Captain," Mike said, his voice low but clear, "we're coming up on Blue Haven. No sign of the pirates yet, but the colony's in bad shape. We should prepare for a fight." Jane nodded, her hand steady on the ship's controls. "We'll be ready. Lucy, get the boarding teams ready. I want our best techs on standby in case we need to disable their ships." "Aye, Captain," Lucy replied, her fingers flying over the controls as she tapped into the colony's communication system. "I'll have the access codes ready if we need to hack into their systems." Bill checked the medbay. "I'll be ready. But if the pirates are as bad as we've heard, we'll need to triage fast. We're going to have to move quickly." The ship's sensors pinged. The first signs of movement were detected. A large pirate vessel, its jagged edges and dark, menacing silhouette, appeared on the ship's radar. It was a typical pirate ship, crude, efficient, and built for destruction. But as the Vanguard drew closer, the crew could see the damage it had inflicted on Blue Haven. The colony's main dome was half-collapsed, smoke billowing into the void. Broken ships drifted in the debris field, the once bustling settlement reduced to a ghost town. "Looks like they're still here," Jane said, her voice steady. "Mike, get the boarding teams ready. Lucy, prepare for any countermeasures." Lucy nodded, her fingers moving rapidly across the controls. "I've got their comms. They're making threats. They'll probably try to intimidate us. Just keep your heads on straight." Bill adjusted his med pack, checking that everything was in place. "If they're as brutal as we've been told, we'll need to be ready for anything." The moment the pirate ship's weapon systems came online, the battle began. A hail of plasma fire streaked toward the Vanguard, but the human ship's defensive systems were more than capable of handling it. The Vanguard's hull was reinforced, designed to withstand the brutal conditions of Earth's atmosphere and beyond. It was a ship made for surviving hostile environments, and now, it was going to show the pirates just what that meant. Evasive maneuvers, Jane ordered, her voice calm and commanding. The ship dipped and swerved, avoiding the plasma blasts with remarkable precision. The pirate ship was big, but it was slow. And it didn't stand a chance against the Vanguard's maneuverability. "Get ready to board," Jane called out again as they closed the distance. "We're going in." As the Vanguard approached, the pirates attempted to fire on them once again, but their shots were wide. The human ship was already on top of them, moving faster than they expected. Lucy activated the magnetic grappling system, and with a satisfying clang, the two ships locked together. The boarding team, led by Mike, suited up in full combat armor, their weapons at the ready. The pirate ship's hull was riddled with blast marks, a testament to the chaos it had left in its wake. But the Vanguard's team was methodical. Every member knew their role, and there was no hesitation. Earth's soldiers didn't need to be told twice, they were born ready. Mike slammed a fist against the bulkhead. "Let's move out. Stay sharp." The pirates had been expecting a fight, but they weren't ready for the ferocity of humanity's response. As soon as the airlock cycled open, the boarding team stormed in, weapons drawn. The pirates, smug in their belief that they were untouchable, rushed to meet them. But Mike and his team had faced worse. They had fought through storms, earthquakes, and enemy lines, and now, they were fighting for something far greater than just survival. The pirates were slow, their reactions sluggish compared to Earth's soldiers, who had trained in conditions that would cripple most species. As Mike gunned down the first pirate, he could hear the chaos erupting behind him, gunfire, shouts, and the unmistakable sound of bodies hitting the floor. Jane's voice crackled over the comms. "Mike, sweep the ship. We need to secure the controls." "Aye, Captain," Mike responded, firing a shot that sent a pirate reeling. He moved swiftly, his team following his lead, methodically clearing rooms and pushing forward. They were a unit, operating like a well-oiled machine, each member knowing exactly where to be and when. Meanwhile, Lucy stayed aboard the Vanguard, hacking into the pirate ship's systems. "I've got their main controls. Shutting down their power grid. They won't be able to fight us if they can't power their weapons." Bill was already patching up the wounded colonists, working quickly but efficiently. The pirates had made their victims helpless, frightened and beaten down. But Bill's presence was a comfort, a reminder that no matter how bad things got, there was always hope. Within moments, the pirate ship's defenses were neutralized, and the human team had control. The pirates were captured, their weapons confiscated, and the remaining crew locked in cells. Back on the Vanguard, the crew was exhausted but triumphant. Jane stood at the command console, watching as the ship pulled away from the now secured pirate vessel. Blue Haven was still in ruins, but they had done what they came to do, they had fought back, they had saved lives, and they had sent a clear message. "We've sent them a message," Jane said, her voice low but filled with conviction. "No one messes with the humans. Not when we fight together." Lucy, who had been monitoring the ship's systems, looked up. "That's one ship down. But the rest of the pirate fleet is still out there." "We'll deal with them," Mike said with a grin, wiping sweat from his brow. "One by one." Bill nodded, looking out at the stars. "We've got more work to do. But we're ready." And with that, the Vanguard set course for the next battle. The pirates may have underestimated humanity, but they wouldn't make that mistake again. This was just the beginning. The Vanguard accelerated through the void of space, its engines pushing the ship faster than the pirates had ever anticipated. Captain Jane Williams stood at the helm, her fingers lightly grazing the controls. The victory at Blue Haven had been hard-earned, but it was only the beginning. The pirates, though defeated at one colony, had an even more dangerous hideout on the horizon. And that hideout wasn't just some derelict outpost, it was a fortress, the very heart of the pirate network. The Council's intel had tracked the pirate fleet there, to a desolate world known as the Burning Rock. A planet surrounded by poisonous gas, where the gravity was twice that of Earth, and the surface temperature could melt standard ship hulls. It was a place no one would willingly go. But the pirates weren't interested in safety, they were interested in chaos and control. They had found a home in the depths of danger, and it was up to the humans to bring that chaos to an end. Jane looked at her crew, each member preparing for the battle ahead. "Mike, Lucy, Bill," she said, her voice cutting through the soft hum of the ship's systems. "We've secured Blue Haven, but this next part is going to be different. We're heading into the heart of their base. We'll be outnumbered, outgunned, and we'll have to move fast. The Burning Rock doesn't give us room for mistakes." Mike nodded, his usual grin replaced by a focused expression. "I've fought in places worse than that, Captain. I'm ready. Let's show them what happens when you mess with Earth." Lucy, her eyes glued to the ship's schematics, chimed in. "I've been running simulations. If we're going to survive on the surface, we'll need to deal with their environmental systems. I've got some ideas on how to sabotage their energy grid once we land." Bill, who had been quiet up until this point, adjusted his med pack, the weight of their mission settling on his shoulders. "We'll need to be quick and precise. The last thing we want is for the pirates to get reinforcements. I'll be ready to triage, but we'll need to keep the casualties to a minimum. Let's make sure we're not the ones who need saving this time." Jane smiled at her team, appreciating their readiness, but she knew the dangers that lay ahead were beyond anything they had yet faced. The Vanguard was one of the most advanced warships in the fleet, but no ship could survive the Burning Rock's environment without help. The odds were against them, but that was where humans thrived, against all odds. The team suited up for the operation. The pirates had set up their fortress on the planet's surface, a sprawling complex buried beneath a mountain range. Even the most advanced sensors struggled to scan the planet, making it an ideal location for anyone looking to hide in plain sight. But not for long. As the ship approached the planet, the atmosphere was thick with a swirling, toxic fog. The crew members could feel the pressure increasing as they descended through the planet's atmosphere. The Vanguard was equipped to handle extreme environments, but even its shields were pushed to their limits as they cut through the atmosphere and into the lower skies. "Brace for impact," Jane commanded, her voice calm despite the shaking of the ship. "We're going in hot." The ship's hull groaned under the stress, but it held together as it plummeted into the thick cloud cover. Beneath them, the pirate fortress loomed like a beast in the darkness, jagged and imposing, with turrets poking up from the mountainside like the claws of some ancient predator. "Landing zone confirmed," Lucy called out. "We're right above the pirates' main energy core. It's a good place to start." Mike tapped his rifle. "Let's give them a warm welcome." The ship landed with a heavy thud, the shock reverberating through the crew's bones. The ground outside was rough, with jagged rocks and shifting sands making any movement dangerous. But the pirates had clearly underestimated the humans once again. While they had fortified their position with heavy artillery and advanced technology, they hadn't prepared for Earth's tactical expertise. "All right, everyone," Jane said, her eyes locking onto each member of her team. "This is it. We go in, hit their core, and neutralize the pirates. No mercy." The airlock hissed as it opened, and the team stepped out onto the surface of the Burning Rock. Their suits, built for the harshest conditions Earth could throw at them, were more than capable of handling the oppressive gravity, the poisonous atmosphere, and the searing heat. Still, the constant pressure of the planet's environment reminded them of the stakes. The ground beneath them was cracked, the sky above painted in shades of red and orange as the sun, a distant and angry ball of fire, blazed in the sky. The air was thin, and every breath felt like it was drawing in the very essence of the planet itself. But Jane's team had been trained for worse. Mike's hand tightened around his weapon. "Let's move. I've got a bad feeling about this." Bill checked his medpack. Stay sharp, people. The longer we wait, the harder it'll get. Lucy's eyes darted across the map, scanning for signs of movement. The energy core is just ahead, but I'm reading multiple hostiles in the vicinity. They know we're here. The team began their march toward the heart of the pirate complex, moving through the jagged landscape with quiet precision. The terrain made it difficult to navigate, but they adapted quickly, using the rocks and cliffs as cover. Suddenly, the ground shook beneath them. The rumble was low at first, like the growl of a sleeping predator, but it quickly escalated into a full-on tremor. The pirate base came to life, and with it, a series of massive automated turrets emerged from the ground, aiming straight at them. Ambush! Mike shouted as he dove for cover behind a rock outcropping. Focus fire! Jane commanded. Lucy, take out the turrets. Lucy wasted no time, pulling up her holographic interface and quickly targeting the turrets. She tapped a few commands, and with a flash of light, the turrets' power grids flickered and died. The pirate base wasn't just a hideout, it was a fortress, and it had defenses designed to stop anyone from getting close. The team pressed on, pushing through the obstacles in their way. With each step, they felt the pressure of the planet's gravity pulling them down, but they fought against it, pushing their bodies to the limit. The entrance to the pirate base finally came into view, a large steel door, reinforced and locked tight. But it was nothing compared to the challenges they had faced. Lucy moved quickly, tapping into the door's security systems. "It's a tough lock," she muttered, her fingers moving faster than the average person could see. "But I can break through. Just give me a minute." As she worked, Mike kept watch, his rifle scanning the horizon for any sign of movement. "We don't have much time. They'll know we're coming for them." "I know," Lucy replied. "And I'm almost there." With a final click, the door's locking mechanism disengaged. It creaked open, revealing the pirates' core facility inside. The place was a sprawling, cavernous space filled with machines, weapons, and an overwhelming sense of danger. "We're in," Jane said, her voice low but determined. "Let's make this quick." As they entered, the team braced themselves. They weren't just walking into a base, they were walking into the very heart of the enemy's stronghold. And the real battle was just beginning. The pirates had no idea what was about to hit them. The Deathworlders had arrived, and they weren't going anywhere until their mission was complete. The heavy door to the pirate fortress slammed shut behind them with a resounding clang. Inside, the air was stale and thick, a stark contrast to the harsh winds of the burning rock outside. The walls, dimly lit by flickering red lights, seemed to close in around them. The hum of machinery echoed through the hallways, and in the distance, Jane could hear the faint sound of voices. The pirates were aware of their presence now. "Stay sharp," Jane whispered, her voice barely audible over the sound of their footsteps. "They'll come at us from all sides." Mike, his rifle at the ready, nodded in agreement. "It's a maze in here. They'll try to box us in. Let's make sure they don't." Lucy and Bill moved in close, each scanning the room for anything that could be useful in their fight. The complex was a labyrinth of narrow corridors and large, open chambers filled with tech and equipment. It was clear the pirates had invested heavily in defense, but they hadn't counted on humans who could adapt to anything. Bill, always the quiet one, checked his medical gear. "The moment someone gets hurt, I need to be ready." The group moved cautiously down the hallway, their steps synchronized. As they approached a corner, Mike raised his hand to signal a stop. He motioned to the others, pointing to a nearby air vent in the ceiling. "They're coming," he whispered. 5, maybe 6 of them. From the other side of that wall. Jane gave a brief nod. "Lucy, any way we can get the drop on them?" Lucy tapped a few commands into her wrist console. The data was coming in fast, and she was already calculating the best way to disable the pirates' weapons before they could even raise them. "There's a maintenance shaft above us. I can reroute the power to the security systems." It'll cut their lights and disable the turrets. Give us an edge. Do it, Jane ordered, her eyes sharp. And, Mike, get ready. The plan was set. Lucy worked quickly, typing in a sequence of commands. Sparks flew from a nearby panel as the systems went down. The lights flickered, casting the hallway in intermittent darkness before they finally shut off completely. The soft sound of the power systems powering down was music to their ears. Now, Jane barked. Mike dashed forward, his movements smooth and calculated, his rifle raised. As soon as the lights went out, the pirates stumbled forward, caught off guard. Their boots echoed loudly in the hallway, unaware of the trap closing in around them. Mike moved like a shadow, silently taking out the first pirate with a swift strike to the neck. The others had no time to react. In the confusion, Jane's team swept in like a tidal wave, overwhelming the pirates with speed and precision. Bill moved in close to the injured pirates, quickly assessing the damage. "Minor injuries," he said, "but they'll live. Just keep moving." With the first group of pirates neutralized, the team advanced deeper into the base. They were in enemy territory now, and the air was thick with the stench of sweat and gunpowder. As they turned another corner, they came face to face with another barricade, a reinforced door, locked tight and sealed from the inside. "This is it," Lucy muttered, examining the door's control panel. "Their central hub, where all the power is being distributed. The energy core." Mike stepped up, his hand brushing the handle. "Let's blow it open." "No," Jane replied, her voice calm but firm. "We need to be strategic. We can't afford to blow everything up yet. Let's access it from the inside." Lucy worked quickly, bypassing the door's security systems with practiced ease. As the door slid open, they were met with the hum of a massive power generator, surrounded by rows of technology in control consoles. In the center, a large, glowing energy core pulsed with power. This was the heart of the pirate operations. "I'll handle the core," Lucy said, already pulling out her tools. "Give me 5 minutes." "We don't have 5 minutes," Mike warned. "They know we're here. They'll send reinforcements any second." "We have no choice," Jane replied, glancing around the room. "Lucy, do your thing." The team took up positions, prepared for a fight. The hum of the core grew louder as Lucy worked, her fingers flying over the interface, rerouting power and sabotaging the system. The pirates would have a hard time maintaining control of their operations without it. Just as Lucy made her final adjustment, a loud bang echoed through the hallway. "They're here," Mike growled, spotting several armed pirates charging toward them from the hallway. Without hesitation, Jane grabbed her weapon, her mind already focused on the task at hand. "Everyone, get ready. Hold them off while Lucy finishes." The pirates stormed into the room, weapons raised. But Jane's team had trained for this moment. Mike was already moving, firing with precision as he ducked behind cover. Bill was quick to provide medical support, knowing that any wounded pirates could be useful for interrogation later. Lucy, though in the middle of her task, didn't flinch. She had been through far worse, and she wasn't about to let a group of pirates stop her from finishing what she started. "We need to shut them down," Jane ordered, her eyes darting to the incoming wave of enemies. "Mike, take the left flank. Bill, stay with Lucy and cover her. I've got the right." The battle was intense but swift. Mike's rifle barked as he picked off pirates with deadly accuracy. The weight of Earth's combat training was evident in his every move, strategic, focused, and relentless. Bill, though a medic by trade, handled his sidearm with deadly precision, ensuring that any pirate who got too close was neutralized quickly. Lucy continued to hack away at the control systems, her hands shaking slightly but never faltering. Her mind was locked in on the task, rerouting power, shutting down critical systems, and preventing the pirates from being able to restart their core. "We're almost there," she called out. "Just a little more." Jane caught sight of a pirate captain rushing toward them, his hand gripping a massive energy weapon that could melt through steel. "Mike, Bill, take him down." Without hesitation, Mike dove to the left, rolling into position behind cover. He fired 2 shots in quick succession, the first taking out the pirate's weapon, the second striking his shoulder. The pirate captain went down with a howl of pain, but he wasn't done yet. Before he could regroup, Jane was already there, her combat knife drawn and ready. She moved with precision, taking the pirate down in a flash. The team didn't have time to celebrate. The remaining pirates were closing in, and they needed to finish this. Finally, with a satisfying beep, Lucy's system came online. The energy core powered down, and the pirate base went dark. "It's done," Lucy said, breathing heavily. "They won't be able to keep their operations running for long. Their entire base is offline." Jane exhaled slowly, her eyes scanning the now silent room. "Good work, everyone. We've taken the heart of their operation. Now we just need to finish cleaning up." As the team regrouped, the full scope of their victory began to sink in. They had not only defeated the pirates' forces but also crippled their ability to wage war. The burning rock had become their tomb. But the war was far from over. The pirates had allies, and there would be more battles ahead. But for now, Earth's Deathworlders had proven their worth, and the galaxy was beginning to realize that humans were not to be underestimated. The pirates had made a grave mistake. And the humans were just getting started. The silence in the aftermath of the battle was eerie. The once bustling halls of the pirate fortress now lay still, the only sounds being the soft hum of the cooling systems and the occasional clink of discarded weapons. The team moved carefully through the darkened corridors, their steps deliberate, their senses sharp. The pirates who had once controlled this place were either captured or scattered, and the base was effectively neutralized. Jane, standing at the center of the control room, surveyed the damage. The large, flickering screens that once showed their piratical operations were now filled with static, the lights dim, and the energy core was offline. It was clear that the pirates wouldn't be able to recover from this strike, at least, not without a lot of time and resources. But Jane knew better than to assume the battle was over. Their victory here had been decisive, but it had only been a chapter in a much larger conflict. "We need to take the prisoners back to the ship for interrogation," Jane said, breaking the silence. Mike, wiping blood from his brow, nodded. "I'll make sure they're secured. No way these guys will talk unless we make them." Lucy, who had been helping Bill stabilize one of the wounded pirates, looked up from her work. "I'm more interested in their supply lines. If we can get the coordinates of their main bases and routes, we can stop them before they regroup." "Good thinking," Jane replied. "We'll deal with the immediate threat, but we need to make sure this doesn't happen again." With the situation under control, the team quickly moved to gather the prisoners. The pirates, now disarmed and bound, were pushed into a corner of the control room. The harsh light of the interrogator's table gleamed as Jane and Mike set up the devices they would use to extract information. Bill, ever the calm one, stood by, ready to attend to any injuries the pirates might feign for leverage. "Do we really need to do this?" one of the captured pirates, a grizzled woman with a scar running down her cheek, asked as she glared at them from her seat. "You've won. There's no need to torture us." Jane leaned forward, her expression unwavering. "We don't need to torture anyone. But we will get answers. Where are your reinforcements? Where do the rest of your people hide?" The pirate remained silent for a moment, then spat on the floor. "You won't find them. We've got safe houses all over the galaxy. You won't be able to catch us all." Bill stepped forward, his medical kit slung over his shoulder. "It's not about catching every pirate. It's about breaking the system you've built. The pirates will run, but they'll always leave a trail." "I'll find it," Lucy said, her voice steady. She was already scanning the system, her fingers working quickly over the console. The screens in the control room flashed as she tapped into the pirates' encrypted communications network. With every keystroke, Lucy unraveled another layer of the pirates' security. "I've got something," Lucy said after a few minutes. "There's a substation on the edge of the system, near the asteroid belt. That's where they keep their reserves, weapons, and even slaves they've taken from peaceful worlds. This is a major supply hub. If we take it out, they'll be crippled." Jane nodded. "Get us the coordinates, Lucy. We're going in." As the team prepared to leave the fortress and head back to their ship, the pirate prisoners were secured in the holding cells aboard the human vessel. Jane and her team were determined to finish what they started. The pirates had long since underestimated the power of Earth's Deathworlders, and now they were learning the hard way that humans were not to be trifled with. Their journey to the substation was uneventful at first. The human ship, small but agile, darted through the asteroid fields at high speed, its advanced systems allowing it to weave through obstacles that would have crushed most other ships. Mike stood at the helm, his eyes focused on the radar as he guided the ship through the dense, rocky debris. "ETA?" Jane asked, her voice sharp and commanding. 5 minutes, Mike replied, adjusting the ship's trajectory. "The pirates are going to know we're coming soon, so get ready for anything." Lucy sat at her station, running calculations for their next move. The substation wasn't heavily defended, but it was a major hub, and the pirates would be expecting trouble. They had to hit hard and fast. "We can disable the substation's communication systems," Lucy said, glancing over her shoulder at Jane. "If we knock out their ability to send signals, they won't be able to call for backup. We'll have a window of opportunity to board and take control." "We'll do that," Jane replied. "But I want to make sure they don't have time to scuttle the station or sabotage the escape pods. We take it fast, we take it clean." As they approached the substation's outer perimeter, the ship's sensors detected movement, several pirate ships stationed nearby. Their weapons were powered up, and their engines were roaring to life. "They're preparing for a fight," Mike said. "Looks like they've got backup." Jane gave a brief nod. "Then we'll hit them first." The battle outside the substation was fierce. The pirate ships, though larger and better armed, were no match for the speed and agility of the human ship. The pirates fired their weapons, trying to catch the human vessel off guard, but Lucy's quick thinking allowed the ship to dodge and weave with uncanny precision. "Incoming!" Mike shouted, as another pirate ship locked on and fired a volley of energy blasts. The human ship jolted as the shields absorbed the hits. "We're good," Lucy said, tapping into the shield systems. "Energy levels are holding." With a smirk, Jane ordered, "Return fire. Make them regret ever crossing us." The human ship retaliated with deadly force. Mike expertly fired back, the ship's guns disintegrating a pirate fighter in seconds. The rest of the pirates hesitated for a moment, unsure of how to respond to such an aggressive counterattack. That hesitation was all Jane needed. "Lucy, disable their communication systems. Mike, keep their ships distracted. Bill, get to the boarding pods. It's time to take the station." As the pirate ships scrambled to respond, Lucy launched a coordinated attack on the substation's main communication arrays. Within minutes, the enemy's ability to communicate was severed. The pirates on the station were isolated, and Jane's team could move in without fear of reinforcements. The boarding pods launched with precision, their sleek hulls cutting through the blackness of space like arrows. The team members suited up, checking their weapons and their gear. The moment the pods touched down on the substation's surface, Jane gave the signal. "Move out!" she shouted. The human team stormed the substation, their combat suits designed to withstand the harshest conditions. The pirates, caught off guard by the speed and ferocity of the human assault, scrambled to defend their positions. But it was too late. The pirates were no match for the human strength, tactics, and relentless drive. As the final pirate was captured and the substation systems were secured, Jane stood at the center of the control room, breathing heavily but victorious. "Mission accomplished," she said with a smile. "We've taken down their supply lines. The pirates won't recover from this." But even as the team celebrated, Jane's mind remained sharp. She knew this was only the beginning. The pirates might have been scattered, but their network ran deep. The true test was still to come. The final showdown. The battle for the substation had been a success, but Jane and her team knew they had not won the war. The pirates, though scattered and leaderless, still posed a significant threat, and their network of operations spanned countless corners of the galaxy. This victory was just the first step in a much larger campaign. Earth's Deathworlders had made their mark. But the fight was far from over. As the team gathered in the briefing room aboard their ship, Jane addressed her crew with a sharp, determined gaze. The mission to dismantle the pirates' infrastructure had been a resounding success, but now the focus shifted to the heart of the pirate operations. "We've hit them hard," she said, her voice steady, yet tinged with a fierce resolve. "But we still don't know the full extent of their operations. We need to find their leader, the one who's been pulling the strings." Mike, still nursing a few bruises from the substation battle, looked at the screen displaying the maps of pirate-held territories. "The intel we've gathered suggests there's a hidden fortress, somewhere deep in the Nebula Delta. It's well hidden, but I'm betting it's the final stronghold of their operations." Lucy, who had been examining the data on the pirate ships they'd captured, spoke up. "I've been analyzing their communications. The last few transmissions we intercepted point to a massive pirate fleet gathering there. They've been quiet about it, but I think they're planning something big. If we don't act fast, we could be facing a much larger battle." Jane nodded, her expression hardening. "We don't have the luxury of waiting. If we give them the time they need, they'll rebuild and regroup. We strike now, swift and decisive." The journey to Nebula Delta took several days, and during that time, Jane's team continued their preparations. They knew this mission would be different. They were not just fighting pirates now, they were preparing for a battle that could shape the future of their place in the galaxy. Every move would count. Every decision would be crucial. As they entered the edge of the nebula, the crew was on high alert. The dense clouds of gas and dust in the region made it difficult to see, let alone navigate. But Jane wasn't worried about that. The Deathworlders thrived in the most hostile environments. This was just another challenge to overcome. "We're close," Mike said, his hands steady on the controls. "The pirate fleet is hiding in the outer rim of the nebula. The readings are faint, but they're there." "Activate the stealth systems," Jane ordered. "We don't want to announce our presence until we're right on top of them." Lucy's voice came through the comms. "Stealth systems engaged. We're invisible to their sensors. But it won't last long. We'll need to move quickly." "Right," Jane replied. "Lucy, prepare the boarding team. We're going in hot." As the human ship slipped past the nebula's dense clouds, it came into view of the pirate fleet, a massive armada of ships, heavily armed and battle-ready. They were clustered around a large station, clearly fortified and well protected. This was the heart of the pirate operation. "Approaching the target," Mike said, his voice low. "I count at least 15 pirate ships, with more hidden behind the station." "Looks like they've got backup," Jane muttered. "But they won't expect us to come in from above." With expert precision, she directed the ship into a steep dive, taking advantage of the element of surprise. The pirate ships never saw it coming. Before they could react, the human vessel was already in their midst, firing with pinpoint accuracy. "Shields up!" Mike shouted. "Brace for impact." The pirates retaliated almost immediately, their weapons flashing in the darkness of space. But the human ship was faster. It zipped through the pirate fleet, ducking and weaving with impossible agility. It wasn't just speed, though. It was the perfect balance of tactics and human ingenuity that allowed them to dodge shots while returning fire with deadly force. "Take out their engines first," Jane ordered. "No escape for them." Lucy, with her usual calm focus, began hacking into the pirate ship systems. Within moments, the first pirate vessel went dark, its engines fried by a well-placed shot. The rest of the fleet began to scatter, but it was too late. Jane's team was already boarding. The human crew launched into action, storming the pirate fortress with military precision. The pirates, caught off guard, scrambled to defend themselves. They had expected another skirmish, but not this level of aggression. The Deathworlders weren't just fighting for survival, they were fighting for justice. Jane led the charge, her team following close behind. Mike and Bill cleared the hallways, dispatching any pirates that crossed their path. Lucy used her technical expertise to disable security systems, ensuring that no one could escape or sound an alarm. As they made their way to the central command room, Jane could feel the tension rising. This was it, the final showdown. She had no intention of leaving without taking down the pirate leader. They breached the doors to the command room, and there, standing before them, was the pirate leader, a hulking figure clad in armor, his eyes filled with anger and disbelief. He hadn't expected this. "You think you can just waltz in here and take us down?" the pirate leader sneered, his voice booming through the room. "You're nothing but animals." Jane stood tall, her face hardening. "We're more than animals. We're Earth's children. And we don't give up." With a signal, the battle began. The pirate leader swung a massive energy sword toward Jane, but she dodged, her movements swift and precise. The fight was brutal, but Jane was faster, stronger, and more determined. She didn't need to defeat him with sheer power, she just needed to outthink him. As the pirate leader lunged for another strike, Jane stepped to the side, using his momentum against him. She disarmed him with a swift, practiced move, then pinned him to the ground. "It's over," Jane said, breathing heavily. "You're finished." The pirate leader snarled but didn't resist further. He knew the fight was lost. In the days that followed, the pirate fleet was disbanded, and their leader was taken into custody. The pirate stronghold was dismantled, and Earth's Deathworlders had proven, once again, that their resilience and ingenuity were unmatched. Back on the Galactic Council's homeworld, Speaker Rob addressed the Council in a broadcast that echoed across the stars. "The pirates have been defeated. And the Deathworlders have not only proven their strength, but also their unwavering commitment to justice. They have shown us that true power lies not in brute force alone, but in the courage to defend the helpless, the strength to stand up for what's right, and the wisdom to use one's abilities for the greater good." As the call ended and the lights dimmed in the council chamber, there was a moment of silence. The Deathworlders had earned their place in the galaxy, not through fear, but through action, through heart, and through an unbreakable spirit. And the galaxy would never forget the day they called upon the Deathworlders to save the day.